The rain continued falling long after the meeting ended. People stood beneath umbrellas outside. Town hall whispering quietly while headlights reflected across wet pavement and puddles. Nobody left immediately. Milfield had not witnessed a moment like that in years. A mechanic from Miller Street had just offered to buy the largest dealership operation in the county, and somehow he looked calmer than everyone else. Lucas caught up with Owen near the parking lot. "You want to explain what the hell just happened in there?" Owen unlocked his truck. "Not particularly." Lucas stared at him. "You offered to buy her. Dealership. Yes. You own 2 jackets and a garage that leaks when it rains." Owen opened the truck door calmly. "I fixed the leak." Lucas rubbed both hands across his face. "That's not the point." For the first time all evening, a faint smile appeared on Owen's face. "I know." Inside another section of the parking lot, Diana Voss stood beside her black SUV watching Owen drive away through the rain. Jessica approached carefully. "You didn't tell me he was capable of that." Diana kept her eyes forward. Neither did he. That bothered her more than she wanted to admit. For weeks, she had viewed Owen Callaway as a stubborn local mechanic standing in the path of expansion, difficult but ultimately predictable. Now she realized she had misunderstood him entirely, and powerful people hated discovering blind spots in themselves. Jessica lowered her voice. "Do you think he can actually do it?" Diana remained silent for several seconds, then finally answered, "Yes." The next morning, Milfield woke up obsessed. The diner downtown filled before sunrise. People talked while pretending not to. Phones buzzed constantly. Rumors spread faster than facts. Some claimed Owen secretly inherited money. Others believed he used hidden investors from Detroit. A few insisted Diana planned the entire situation herself. Only Lucas knew the truth looked much stranger than gossip. Owen Callaway simply saw value where other people failed to look carefully enough. Bonnie sat quietly at the kitchen table eating cereal while Owen reviewed documents beside a cup of untouched coffee. "You were on the news?" Owen looked up slowly. "What?" Bonnie pointed toward the television. "The local Benton County station displayed footage from town hall while reporters discussed the dealership. Proposal beneath dramatic music." Owen watched himself standing calmly near the microphone. It felt strange. He spent years becoming invisible intentionally. Now people suddenly noticed him everywhere. Bonnie tilted her head slightly. "Are you famous now?" Owen almost laughed. "No. You were on TV." "That's not the same thing." She considered that carefully. "Can I tell people at school you're buying a dealership?" Owen folded another document. "Not yet." "Why?" "Because talking about things before they happen usually causes problems." Bonnie nodded seriously. That sounded exactly like something her father would believe. 3 days later, Diana arrived unexpectedly at Cartmill Road. The black SUV rolled slowly across the gravel driveway before stopping near the garage. Snow still covered sections of the field surrounding the property, while pale winter sunlight reflected softly against the frozen landscape. Owen stepped outside, wiping grease from his hands with an old cloth. Diana removed leather gloves carefully before speaking. She looked at the old house, then at the garage, and finally at Owen. "You could have called," she said, her voice clear in the cold air. Owen didn't move. "You could have stopped sending lawyers," he answered. A brief silence passed between them. It was a quiet moment where both of them knew the stakes were high. Then, surprisingly, Diana smiled slightly. Not warmly, not comfortably, but genuinely. "That's fair," she said. Owen waited quietly. He did not feel the need to speak just to fill the quietness. Diana glanced toward the garage. "I underestimated you. Most powerful people in this county would never admit something like that aloud, but she did." Owen noticed it immediately. "Yes," he answered simply. "No arrogance, no performance, just truth." For some reason, that simple truth irritated Diana even more than confidence would have. She crossed her arms against the cold wind. "How much did the Mustang sell for?" Owen studied her carefully, wondering how she knew. "You know about the Mustang?" "I know about most things involving six-figure collector vehicles suddenly appearing in small towns," she said. That answer told Owen something important. She had people investigating his past now. He leaned lightly against the garage doorway. "I didn't sell it." That surprised her. "Why not?" He glanced briefly toward the house. "It belongs to my daughter." Diana followed his gaze silently, and for the first time since this entire conflict began, she saw something beyond business strategy. She realized that the house and the family mattered to him in ways financial reports could never explain. Weeks passed after that meeting. Dealership negotiations continued quietly, behind closed doors, while the town of Milfield watched every development like a live television drama. Some residents supported Owen completely, while others believed Diana would eventually destroy him financially. Meanwhile, Owen continued fixing vehicles at Miller Street. Garage during the daytime, exactly like always. That confused people most. Success usually changed how men behaved. But Owen still wore his old flannel jackets. He still bought coffee at the same gas station and still picked Bonnie up from school every afternoon. The town expected transformation, but instead they found consistency. And consistency made people trust him more than long speeches ever could. One snowy evening, Bonnie stood beside Owen inside the garage, watching him organize tools in their boxes. "Are we rich now?" The question arrived so suddenly Owen stopped moving. Children always asked difficult things without warning. He crouched beside her carefully so he could look at her face. "Why do you ask?" "People at school say, you're becoming rich." Owen considered the answer seriously before speaking. "Money helps people solve certain problems," he said. "That means yes?" A faint smile touched his face. "It means we don't have to worry the same way anymore." Bonnie looked relieved by that. Not excited, just relieved. That hurt. Owen quietly, because no child should understand financial fear that early in life. She pointed toward the mint-green Mustang beneath the lights. "Will Mom know?" Owen looked at the car for a long moment, thinking of the past, then softly answered, "I hope so." At Voss Auto Group headquarters, pressure continued building every day. Bank restructuring meetings, supplier negotiations, and falling numbers were making things difficult. Diana sat alone inside her office one evening, staring at financial projections. Spread across the desk, everything she built over 15 years now balanced dangerously close to collapse. And somehow the only person calm enough to stabilize the situation was Owen Callaway. That realization unsettled her deeply, not because he lacked intelligence, but because she failed to recognize it sooner. The first real snowfall of January arrived overnight. Milfield disappeared beneath white silence by morning. Bonnie pressed her face against the kitchen window while snow drifted across. Cartmill Road in thick waves. "School's canceled," she said. "I noticed." She turned excitedly. "Can I come to the dealership?" Owen pretended to think carefully. "Only if you promise not to reorganize." "My entire office again." Bonnie looked completely serious. "Your paperwork system was inefficient." Owen laughed unexpectedly. A real laugh, short and rusty from disuse. Some grief never disappears completely, but moments like that made surviving it easier. Callaway Auto officially reopened on a freezing Tuesday morning beneath pale blue skies. The old Voss signage had been removed overnight, and now a clean new sign stood above the entrance. Callaway Auto. Simple, direct, honest. Employees gathered quietly near the showroom while customers wandered inside, curiously from the cold. Owen walked through the building slowly, shaking hands with every staff member personally. No long speech, no corporate performance. Finally, he stopped near the center of the showroom. "I'm not interested in becoming the biggest dealership in the county," he said calmly. The room stayed silent. "I'm interested in building the most trustworthy one." Nothing dramatic followed. Yet somehow those words carried more weight than expensive, motivational speeches ever could, because everyone listening believed him immediately. Diana arrived later that afternoon for the first consulting meeting. She paused briefly beneath the new sign before entering the building. Inside, Owen reviewed supplier contracts at a conference table beside two department managers. He looked completely natural there, like someone who belonged in leadership long before realizing it himself. Diana removed her gloves slowly. "You changed the lighting." Owen glanced upward. It was too cold. She studied the warmer showroom carefully. He was right. Customers already looked more comfortable. It was a small detail with an important effect. She sat across from him and opened the first contract folder. "Your distributor margins are weak." Owen nodded once. "I know." Diana looked up sharply. "Then why haven't you renegotiated?" I was waiting for someone experienced enough to help. For the first time in years, Diana Voss laughed. Not politely, but genuinely. And the entire tension inside the room shifted. Late that evening after everyone left, Owen remained alone inside the showroom, turning off lights one section at a time. The building felt quiet and peaceful now. Snow drifted slowly outside, beyond the giant glass windows, while reflections stretched across polished showroom floors. Bonnie appeared beside him holding 2 cups of hot chocolate. "You forgot dinner." Owen accepted one carefully. "Sorry." She looked around the empty dealership. "Do you like it here?" Owen considered the question honestly, then nodded slowly. "Yes." "More than the garage?" He looked through the windows toward the snowy parking lot outside. "The garage saved us." Bonnie waited patiently. "But this," he said quietly, "this might be a future." Months later, people in Milfield still told the story differently depending on who was speaking. Some believed Owen Callaway defeated Diana Voss in a business war. Others claimed Diana strategically stepped aside before collapse. Neither explanation captured the truth completely, because the real story was quieter than that. A man everyone overlooked simply remained patient, long enough for opportunity to arrive, disguised as disaster. And when it finally did, he recognized value where everyone else only saw wreckage. That was all. No revenge, no miracle, no secret fortune hidden away. Just experience, patience, and the rare ability to see clearly while everyone else panicked. The 12 damaged vehicles disappeared from Cartmill Road long ago, but people in Milfield still talked about them sometimes, especially during winter storms, because deep down the town understood something important had happened the night those transport trucks arrived, not just financially but emotionally. For years, Owen Callaway moved through Milfield carrying grief quietly enough that people eventually stopped noticing it. Then suddenly the same quiet man reminded everyone of something easy to forget in difficult towns. Strength does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it looks like patience. Sometimes it looks like discipline. And sometimes it looks like a mechanic standing silently in the snow, beside 12 broken vehicles, while everyone else completely misunderstands what they're seeing. On certain cold evenings, long after Callaway Auto closed for the night, Owen still returned to the old garage behind the house on Cartmill Road. The mint green Mustang remained parked, beneath warm lights, exactly where it always had. Untouched, protected, waiting. Not because Owen couldn't sell it, but because some things were never meant to be sold. And after everything life had taken from him, he finally had enough strength left to keep the things that mattered most.